What's up guys, and welcome back to Gabe Miller Music. Today I'm showing you the making of a super chill song in Caustic 3 for Android, which I think is the best music production app for Android out there. I've got a whole video coming out about that subject soon, but in the meantime, let's talk about making the beat that you heard in the intro and fleshing it out into a full song. So I've got Caustic pulled up here. I'm going to start off by introducing the element that started this whole thing. Not only am I going to walk you through the layering of this track, but I'm going to show you how the song developed and evolved as I came up with new parts and as this whole kind of vibe took shape. So I started off really with no agenda in mind. I hadn't used Caustic 3 in quite a while. This is me kind of rediscovering it. So I just pulled up a patch and started noodling around and ended up coming up with this ARP part using this built-in brass patch in this FM synth engine. Super simple, but this immediately got my gears turning in my brain, and so I tried to take advantage of that. I wanted to take this in a kind of video game direction, but also mix that with my own taste in electronic music, so the next thing I brought in was this bass. And this is like a Reese that I've kind of pared down a little bit, so it's mostly just this kind of gritty, low bass tone. This goes on for a while. So you pair that with the ARP. Let me go into the arranger window. And I made this entire song using just built-in sounds and presets. Lately I've been playing around a lot with bringing in my own sounds, both into the drum machine and the sampler engines, which has been a lot of fun and really has unlocked the power of this app. But for this song, all stock sounds, and I kind of leaned into the video game vibe, especially with these drums. Pretty dinky on their own, but in context with the overall vibe that I'm going for, I think it really works. And then built on that, I'm going to go out of order in terms of parts that I came up with just for a second here. Let's talk about this pad. This synth has been pretty hit or miss for me, but in this case, I love this patch. So trying to reharmonize that ARP in a bit of an interesting way. So all together, let's head back to the sequencer, we end up with this. So here I added a second ARP. So let's jump to this guy here. This stacks pretty nicely on top of that main ARP and really hammers the vibe, the kind of Minecraft soundtrack vibe home. And at that point I was thinking, all right, I should probably try to figure out some kind of main melody here. So I brought up the saw synth, brought up a preset that I really like that I've used before, and started laying down notes on top of the ARP and the bass. And this is what I ended up coming up with. Got kind of this call and response thing going on here. So you can hear in song mode the pads drop in and I can start to build up energy in the track. Note that this lead part doesn't really go all that well with that second ARP, that faster ARP, and so I kind of switched them out over the course of the song to add some variation, and I think that works really well. So those are the main kind of foundational aspects of the song. So now it was all about adding variation, adding ear candy, and controlling dynamics. So the first thing I use to really help control dynamics is this second drum patch, and this really hammers home the video game feel of things. I love these little sound effects. And you can hear I've got that little syncopated beat going on, and I paired that with the original drum patch, also doing that same syncopated beat. So you've got a little beat switch up and these punchier drums with the video game aspect really grabbing your ears. Once again, starting to get into the ear candy territory, and then we really drive the video game feel of this home with this patch. This synth is super wide, which is lovely, so it really bounces around in your eardrums, and it's an arpeggiated patch, and so I've got all these instances of the note C at 4 different octaves to get that arpeggio nature. Bring that out. And my plan in the future, I've already gone ahead and exported all of the individual tracks as WAV files and brought them into my primary DAW, which is Reaper, and I'm gonna do a proper mix of all this stuff. And my plan is to essentially use a high cut filter to slowly bring that arpeggio in over time, slowly building up the energy level, and it hopefully won't completely take over when it pops into the mix. Also in the realm of ear candy is this secondary bass. This is a pretty heavily modified patch, and it has that slow attack and it brings that filter in, so it's got that kind of analog characteristic to it that I really like. And that works really well with the main bass because the main bass is pretty static. It doesn't really move much. This has a ton of movement, and so both complement each other, and once again, bringing this in mid-song adds quite a bit of variation. And I believe that's it for the tracks. I didn't use any insert effects. I didn't really go too crazy with that. A lot of that's gonna have to happen in post with the exported WAV files, mixing those after the fact. And that's basically all the elements I needed to go ahead and turn that into a full track. So, without any further ado, here is the fully finished and mixed version of the song. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos about making music on the go with apps and with portable hardware. I did a video on how to make full songs on Caustic that you can click or tap over here to watch if you'd like, and I'll be back with a new video in a little bit.